In an industry where billions of dollars are spent every year, I want to share with you one astonishing fact. 75 to 80% of all the major corporate change efforts that get started in this country fail. That means if we were an airline serving 100 million passengers a year, 80 million people would die every year. That's how bad it is. And yet this industry of change is growing and growing. More companies are spending their staff time and hiring in consultants and buying all kinds of books and tapes and DVDs in an industry where the failure rate is still high. What we're going to talk about today are some of the reasons why that change is high and what you can do about it in your organizations, whether you're a business, whether you're an agency, whether you're a nonprofit, or whether you're just a project leader in some kind of organization around the country. Let's take an example of one common story that occurs at 30,000 feet. The head of a company is flying along somewhere over the Midwest at 30,000 feet, up there in first class. And they're bringing him drinks, and it's quiet, and it's a moment of calm for them, if you will. And all of a sudden, at 30,000 feet, it's like this spiritual moment where God himself comes down and tells the executive that the in-flight magazine has scriptural accuracy. Everything in this magazine must be true. That's what they're thinking somehow at 30,000 feet. And so you see these folks reading through the magazine, reading about team building or total quality or coaching or reinventing the organization, and they're going, wow, this is incredible. I want to do this for my company. I want to put every single person through this program. So the plane lands. 2 days later, we have staff meeting. And in staff meeting, copies of the article are passed out, waiting a chorus of applause from the managers, which doesn't come. In fact, they're all thinking, I hope this goes away quickly. 3 weeks later, the consultants come, probably the ones mentioned in the article. And they go about doing what they're very good at, which is implementing that particular methodology for change. Now, the problem with all these methodologies aren't that they don't work, because they do. It's that rarely they are set up by the company to succeed, and they are sabotaged by the company as they go along. What happens next? There are early successes, and in these successes, things get done that weren't done for years. For instance, the copier that you've been trying to move 50 feet down the hall since 1981 finally gets moved because the consultant said so. Then other things happen, and you're digging deeper into the organizations, more down to the strategic level. At this point, in most organizations, this is when they lose interest in the change project, because now people are starting to blame each other, their political implications, the energy for the project dies down, the consultants eventually go away, the CEO changes their interest, and 6 months later, it's gone. And there's this quiet period, and no one talks about the time we did that thing. 6 to 12 months later, the CEO is on another plane reading another article. And this is most people's experience of change in large organizations. This doesn't have to happen. In the simulation that we run, we teach people 7 key strategies on how to influence change and make it stick, so that you don't have this flavor of the month type environment that is so prevalent in so many organizations, government agencies, school systems, you name it. It's all over the workplace. What can you do to make that successful? Well, there are a couple of things not to do. Don't buy T-shirts, coffee mugs, keychains, wall posters, and a lot of crap and expect that's going to motivate everybody indefinitely to do the right thing. Secondly, if you're going to do a job, you've got to provide the right resources or infrastructure to accomplish it. That means that if you know a job is going to take $10,000 to do, don't just arbitrarily assign $5,000 to it and hope people will make do with those resources. That communicates right away that management has not provided what is needed to do the job well. And then finally, there has to be something in it for people. If there's no reward or recognition, whether that's tangible, intangible, a pat on the back, a celebration, something, they won't want to take the risk required to make the changes that you want. And the more changes that you want, believe me, the more risk that people are perceiving in the organization. These are some of the things that we talk about in running the tipping point simulation, which is based on the same principles as Tipping Point the book, was actually developed before the book. In this, teams of 4 to 6 people will take a company of 20,000 employees through 3 years of change to see if they can make it stick. It's a fascinating experience and one that I love doing all across the country. Please get in touch with me at Strategic Development and we'll talk about doing this for your organization. Thank you very much.